Hello and welcome to another episode of Bangers Bricks. It is sweltering here in the UK. Not that you'd notice from the temperatures for those in hotter climates, but it's particularly unbearable in the UK at all times. Now, this week we are going to look at something other than the usual, as promised last week. This is the Tycole set. We did look at them before in the comparison of the different botanicals. It is produced by Tycole. It is the architecture series Cuckoo Clock House. It has 1,909 pieces. There are 15 stickers, no characters, no lights, printed manual, and it cost me £42.69, which is about a $58. So here we have the set. From the front, it does look quite good. You can see the cuckoo just popping out slightly at the top, and then we have the clock, which can work. And then there's some detail on the front. We've got a few stickers here, and you can see the side here, some of the water for the water wheel. Nice stones here on the front. Yeah, from the front, I think it does look quite appealing. Moving over to the side, you can see the water wheel more clearly here, and nice on the roof tiles. There's this extra bit here sticking out the side, not totally certain what it's for. It looks a bit weird and empty when viewed from this front. So this is where the two mechanisms can be seen here for the cuckoo, and then there's a turn here for the water wheel, which turns very, very, very slowly as you turn it. Doesn't do anything else than that. I guess that's a something. And you can see the nice transparent pieces here for the water. Going round to the back of the set, then you can see some detail on the inside here. There's a kind of water cooler, a clock at the back, something here, a plant, and a table with some popcorn on it, as well as obviously the main mechanism here for the cuckoo. And turning around to this side, again, you can see some more details. The main door into the house with a sticker on there, a small tree, and a bigger tree, which doesn't really fit in the space, which is why you see it, no matter how you turn it, leaning with quite a bit of an angle. So, yeah, you might have guessed thus far, I'm not massively impressed with the design of this set. We'll get to the cuckoo bit later for reasons I will explain. But yeah, the main bit, the pieces don't fit together as well as other brands, never mind Lego. They are very stiff and difficult to put together, but this whole set still feels very weak and poorly built. It's constantly creaking and making noises wherever you push it when you're trying to build it. You build in sections on it and then push them onto the already existing ones rather than building up from, all on the same pieces, just layer by layer. You build them all separately, then attach them, which causes some problem because, not everything does fit together well, and you can tell how stiff it is, and the noise it makes when you're pushing it makes it very difficult to attach the next layer onto it. There's also some weird design choices. So just behind here is the door, which goes out here, but is entirely covered by this bit here. But also just inside the door, you have these bookcases that support the upper bit in front of the door, which why put doors there? It makes no sense. It just, was a complete hassle to build. It does come in numbered bags, but sometimes there were 6 bags for one section, which means there's a lot of pieces to sort through. There were some missing pieces. It was just honestly a nightmare. And the instructions, very difficult to read. The print quality isn't fantastic. So a lot of the pieces do look very similar. You will notice that there probably are some mismatched pieces in here because I got to the point where I just thought, forget it. I'm just going to build it and I need to get through this. it was an arduous process trying to build. It just, yeah, it was not fun. Having to search through all the pieces, having to try and find missing pieces and then jerry rig something together so that actually works, not ideal. And I don't think the end result makes it worth it. As I said, why have these balconies just to hide them here? That seems a little odd to me. And yeah, it just doesn't work well. I did struggle to get the clock working. Not all of the hands seem to fit into the right places. Again, I could have read the instructions wrong. I'm going to freely admit by the end, I had checked out of this build, but yeah, that didn't seem to work properly. I was disappointed that obviously the cuckoo mechanism isn't linked to the clock. That is just a completely separate element that just pulls out. It's a standard one that you could probably pick up on Amazon for about $10 a dozen. It's not well made or anything. It doesn't need to be, I suppose, and it's got a nice print on it, but yeah, it's not linked to the cuckoo. They are very clear on that. That was my mistake, that I thought it was linked. They are very clear on the actual box that it is a manual swing. So that one's on me. But yeah. So the cuckoo mechanism. Now, this is meant to have an elastic band which is provided on it so that when it pops out, it'll then pop back in when you turn this. But the reason that I have now left this main part of a cuckoo clock to last is because every time I have tried this recently, then the mechanism has just broken, the cuckoo fell apart, the doors fell off, and I've recorded all other parts of this review, including the conclusion, everything before that, because I don't know if I have the strength left to rebuild it afterwards. So we will see what happens live when I turn the handle as to whether the cuckoo pops out. But yeah, I have removed the elastic band from it because that seemed to be causing more resistance, which meant the gears were skipping on each other. It didn't have the force to push the gears together, and so they were skipping, and that just meant it wouldn't work. So let's zoom in on the cuckoo and see what fate has for us today. So there you can hear the gears just not working. So you get that much, and then it just says no. And you can see here, there is very little that actually pushes down on this bit here. So it's this gear and this gear that just end up skipping. So yeah, you can see it's the one behind here. It just does not work. So I push down as hard as possible and it just won't. If I am I can try manually doing this. Let's see what happens. There goes one of the doors. But there is the blessed cuckoo, which, yeah, okay, now that's disconnected. Yep, okay. There's the cuckoo. It sort of worked if you pushed and pulled the lever manually a few times, but then it just has now given up the ghost and doesn't really work. It's got a small hole there for that to fit through. I'm not sure if you can see underneath here. And if this gets knocked at all, then it turns slightly to one side like that. It won't then fit through the hole. And so the bird then just, its head falls off. Why make the hole so small that any slight change will break it? It makes no sense. There are so many weird design decisions here that this could have been so much of a much nicer set if they just thought things through better. But it is what it is. I really hate this set. It is just awful. I'm trying to think if there are any other redeeming features. I mean, it's not horrendous value, I guess. $50 odd dollars for almost 2,000 pieces and a clock. Yeah, but yeah, I wouldn't call it good value because I think it's just awful. So yeah, I don't think there's much more I can say about this clock without breaching YouTube guidelines. So on to the conclusion. So to wrap up my review, well, as is probably obvious by this point, I hated this set. It is the first set where I've been so adamant about how much I dislike it. Normally, there are a couple of features which could be better, but I really don't think this has one redeeming feature. It does look quite nice from a distance, and it is possible that my annoyance at the set got the better of me when building it. That is quite possible. But I just think it's awful. I don't think there's much in the way of nice detail. There are weird gaps in places. It doesn't do its main feature, which is the cuckoo. I've not managed to get that to work consistently. No matter how hard I tried, normally the thing just effectively explodes. I can't get the clock to work, although again, didn't give it much effort because I thought, why bother? I honestly considered returning this set to Amazon. I'm not sure if you can return an already assembled set, but in my opinion, it doesn't do what it says it will do, and so therefore should be returned. But I've decided to keep it. I really don't recommend getting this. There are other sets that do similar things, and I can only hope that they do it substantially better than this. Building this set was just a nightmare. It wasn't enjoyable. And yeah, I wouldn't put anyone else through that. Um, I don't know what I'm going to do with this set, but if I do get to 100 subscribers, then I will find an inventive way to destroy this set in the most cinematic way I can. So yeah, please, if you haven't already subscribed, then please consider doing so. And I will do something horrendous to this awful, awful set. Next week, I'm not sure if it will be a Lumibrick set or something different. This really does make me realize how good some of those other sets are, like the Lumibricks ones. So yeah, we might return to Lumibricks next week. But if you would like to like and subscribe, it really does help the channel. And look forward to seeing you next week.